Hi guys, welcome to the first episode of the Perceptionist Playbook podcast. So, on today's episode, we are going to be delving deeper into the world of the Perceptionist Playbook. Today, I'm going to give you a peek behind the curtain and a behind the scenes look into what this whole thing is all about. So, as you already know, my name is Abisola, and I like to call myself a serial entrepreneur because I literally have a new business idea every single day. Like, maybe not every single day, but I'd say like every other day. I have a new business idea, I have a new brand, I have just ideas flowing out of my head. And most of them I don't really plan on pursuing. I'm just like, oh, it would be really cool if someone could do that, or someone could fill that gap in the market. So if you're looking for business ideas, I'm your girl. But yeah, I genuinely just I'm always, I'm always pouring out ideas, but I don't really plan on pursuing most of them, like I said. But this podcast was actually an idea that kind of has an interesting backstory. So I'm excited to unravel all of that with you today. So yeah, let's start at the point of conception for the Perceptionist Playbook, if I can use that word. First of all, the Eureka moment. So I'm going to set the scene for you guys. I was commuting to the office. My first job as a UX UI designer. I was a junior UX UI designer, and I had to take a train from my train station near my house to another train station, and then I'd have to take a bus from that train station to my office. So the journey wasn't super complicated. It was pretty straightforward, same old thing every day. Well, not every day, once or twice a week. So this one random sunny day, it was probably raining actually. I was on the bus, and I decided not to listen to music because it's not every day blast music in your ears. I also am an avid reader, and so I love reading books, and I love having physical copies of the books with me so that I can actually enjoy the smell of the books, enjoy turning the page. It's such a satisfying feeling when you can literally see how far you've got into the book and how much you've got left to go. So yeah, I would enjoy reading a book on the bus or on the train sometimes, just on my commute in general. And this one day I remember looking and people watching, as I do. I was just on the bus watching everybody get on with their lives, and an idea dropped into my brain: start a podcast. Now, if you know me, you know that I am very faith-based. I am a Christian, and I am very loud and proud about my faith. And I think it's very important that I give credit to my faith in terms of starting this podcast, because it definitely wasn't by choice. Historically, I've always told all of my friends that I would never, ever, 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 ever do YouTube. And I would never start a podcast. And yet here we are doing both of those things. It's kind of crazy. I can probably find proof, maybe put a screenshot in here where I've literally said I would never. And my friends or my family would be like, well, why not? Like, you could do it like this, or you could do this. And I'm like, no, because I always said that I didn't want to go viral for my face. Like, not necessarily for my face, but like, I didn't want to have like a popular page or a popular YouTube channel that is associated with my face. Like, I want to, not to say that it was going to blow up and be anything special, but I just don't like being recognizable in general. Like, I enjoy blending into the background. Like, I enjoy being kind of the person that you don't really notice is in the room. I just really enjoy being incognito. And so I just felt like having a public platform like a YouTube channel, although I've had a blog that I've had for years, since about 2018, I believe, or 2016, sorry. And I have other things that I do, but I do it because I enjoy it, not for a following or for popularity or to go viral. And so, yeah, but I just felt like YouTube is completely out of your control. Like, if somebody or a good number of people like your video, that's it. Or if the algorithm decides to work with you that day, that's it. And so, yeah, I really didn't want to, I did not want the algorithm to work with me one day and my face be in too many places, essentially. And so, yeah, that's kind of why I've been against the whole public facing platform thing like YouTube and podcasting. But here I am, child. So yeah, I digress. The eureka moment. So I was on the bus and it dropped into my brain that I need to start a podcast. And like I said, I get a new business idea every single day. So I thought to myself, what would I even do? Like, what would I even say? Where would I even, go with things? And I just decided, it is what it is. It's just one of those ideas, it's just one of those thoughts. But I literally, since that day, have not been able to stop thinking about it. Like, I have not been able to get it out of my mind. And for me, when I have an idea like that stands out amongst the rest of the ideas that I have every day, I know that it's an idea that I need to pursue. And I strongly believe that God was, telling me that I need to start a podcast. And I just thought, well, why? I had my own little Jonah and the whale moment. And I was just like, I don't understand why I need to start a podcast. Like, who cares? I have nothing to say. I feel like what I'm already doing with my blog and with my page, The Perceptionist Studio, make sure you follow, and my blog, Florence and Obsidian, I thought what I'm doing with these pages is enough. Like, I don't need to be front and center of people's phone screens. It's actually okay. But yeah, again, here I am. And I tried to ignore the idea for a long time. I tried to forget about it, but it just was gnawing at me. And also, when I have ideas, the way my brain works, 'cause I'm a very creative person. And so when I have an idea that is like rooted in my spirit and in my soul, and that I feel like I need to pursue, like, the ideas should start pouring out of me. So I'm like, this is going to be what the page looks like. This is what the marketing strategy is going to be. This is what the branding is going to look like. This is what the website is going to look like. And because I have proficiency in all of these areas, branding, digital marketing, I'm a UX UI designer, so I do my design and build my own websites. I have proficiency to be about 10 people's jobs in one person. I just thought I will just start doing these things. So I'll get onto Canva, I'll get onto WordPress, I'll get onto Figma, and I'll start reading out my ideas. Because I just feel like I cannot sleep, eat, or do anything until these ideas in my head are in front of me on some sort of, digital screen. So yeah, that's the eureka moment. And I definitely believe that God had a hand in the idea. Not had a hand, he served the idea up on a platter for me, because like I said, I was running for my life from this idea for so long, and I genuinely didn't think that it was for me, or it was for like my idea. And I ended up like eventually accepting it after months, literally after months of this idea gnawing at me. And I told my best friend, shout outs to you, girl, and she said to me, yeah, that is a great idea. Like, no, you do need to start a podcast. And I was like, because when you share something with someone and you almost kind of hope that they will talk you out of it, like, when like, random analogy, but you're like, you want to do something crazy, so you call your friend and you're like, because they're going to talk you out of it, but that if they mess around and say go ahead, you're going to be on the first boat, train, ship, whatever, to the destination, which is the mad idea that you have. And so I thought to myself, oh, she probably talked me down, or, you know, she probably tell me it's ridiculous. How can I start a podcast? Like me, like I'm literally the quietest person, not anymore, but I used to be a very quiet, introverted, painfully shy person. And so why would I be starting a podcast? But she was loving the idea. And I just thought to myself, well then, here we go. Because sometimes it can seem like a great idea to you, but if somebody outside of yourself can co-sign your idea and, you know, gives you the confidence or full confidence to go for it, then it just kind of lets you know that, you know, you can do it. And although I have a lot of self-belief and self-confidence, I feel like it's very important to have a support system around you. And if you have people around you that encourage you to be better and to pursue your dreams, I feel like that is exactly what you need to kind of maybe get started sometimes. And so in that moment, that's what I needed. So shout outs to her. And I got planning with the idea. So I started with the name. I couldn't figure out the name for ages. And then I went on ChatGPT. Oh my gosh, that piece of AI tool has changed the game for me. Okay, let's start there. And I was typing in like podcast names, and I typed in the Perceptionist Studio podcast names, and they just weren't hitting. And then the Perceptionist Playbook came up on a long list. Like I probably have a list of like 50 names plus that I was going through, and I was like, I'm not connected to that name. I'm not feeling that name. The vibe is not there for me. As soon as I saw the Perceptionist Playbook, I thought to myself, playbook? Like the playbook of life, like the playbook, the secrets, the keys, the blueprint. And I thought it made sense because, you know, perceptionist, it's P. So the Perceptionist Playbook made sense. And I felt like it's also kind of a nod to like my love of reading and my love of writing with my blog as well. So I just felt like it really encompassed everything that I wanted this podcast to be, and everything that I am as a person and as an individual. So yeah, I went with that name and I decided to run with it, and everything else just kind of like one thing after the other was just falling in place. Like I think for a long time I was making up excuses like, oh God, I can't do it because I don't have the finances, or oh God, I can't do it because I don't have the time, oh God, I can't do it because I don't have the energy, oh God, I can't do it because I work 24/7. I have about 10 jobs, if you know, you know. And God just one by one started clearing everything off my to-do list, like tick, 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 tick. And I just thought to myself, I have no excuses left. Maybe I actually need to do this. So yeah, ever since then, I have been dedicated to the cause, and here I am recording my first episode. It's kind of crazy. So yeah, let's talk about the Perceptionist Playbook, the purpose for this podcast. So the Perceptionist is a very random word, and I feel like a lot of the time it can come across as very wordy or very like a mouthful of a word, and so it can be hard for people to pronounce or people to spell and all of these things. And people would ask me, why do you go for such a like weird name or difficult name? And basically the story behind the Perceptionist Studio as a name was when I first started my UX UI journey, I did a boot camp, which I will be speaking about in another episode, not today, so stay tuned for that. And I literally was learning all about UX UI design and all about the fundamentals, and then we got to a module about accessibility. And if you don't know what accessibility is, it's all about essentially making things easily accessible for everybody and anybody, not just, you know, me and you, but for people who are visually impaired, people who suffer from, who have deafness, or who are deaf, or who are neurodivergent. All of these people, and of course the others that I haven't mentioned, deserve to be able to use apps and websites to the same level of proficiency that I do. Somebody who, you know, has been using, as somebody who has been using apps and websites, you know, for the vast majority of my teen to adult life, I couldn't imagine a world without access to a lot of these things, without access to Uber, without access to the online banking, without access to, you know, Pretty Little Thing, Boohoo, all of these places. This is not an ad. Hashtag not sponsored. All of these places. So imagine having, you know, being on the spectrum or being neurodivergent, and because the website hasn't been made with you in mind, you're not able to use the website because it's overwhelming, because it's overstimulating, because you just genuinely don't know where to start. And I just felt like that was completely unfair. There's something called the Purple Pound. I believe it's called the Purple Pound. I should have definitely double checked that before I recorded this, but correct me if I'm wrong. There's something called the Purple Pound, and it's essentially the budget that is kind of flushed away when people that are have accessibility needs cannot access an app or a website. And it's millions, and dare I say billions of pounds that are flushed away from potential sales, from potential clients, potential customers, and potential people that you can help and support, just because, you know, they cannot access or they cannot use the website or the app. And I was very infuriated by that. I don't know why, because I am personally not neurodivergent or have accessibility. I'm not of the accessibility community. So I, you know, on the outside looking in, you would find it strange that I even was that bothered. But I was very annoyed, because it's like, how dare people pick and choose who has access to your website? How dare you pick and choose, you know, who can use these basic daily needs? And, you know, fair enough, you have your target market, you have your customer base, but it shouldn't at any point exclude people who are part of the accessibility community, because they deserve to be able to use your website too. They deserve to be able to call an Uber. They deserve to be able to order food online. They deserve to be able to look for a nice dress for their birthday. You know, it's just these little things that people don't really think about that really affects somebody else's life. So yeah, that's the purpose of the name. That's where it comes from, because it's all about trying to see things from other people's point of view. Perception is all about looking at things from a different angle. And when you have great perception, when you are a perceptionist like me, you almost prioritize other people's angles over yours, because you know that you see for yourself and you've seen through this lens your entire life. And other people have been looking through rose-colored, blue-colored, grey-colored, yellow-colored lenses their whole life. And unfortunately, life hasn't been designed in a way where their lenses are clear. Their lenses are a bit foggy, whereas mine is completely clear. And so if I try to look through rose tinted glasses or blue tinted glasses or yellow tinted glasses, and I just, you know, give it a wipe to get away the fogginess, I can, you know, then come back to my own perspective and make changes or be the change that, you know, the people in these other communities may want to see. So yeah, I am a huge advocate for all things accessibility friendly and neurodiversity as well. So yes, that's the reason why the Perceptionist Studio and the Perceptionist Playbook is called those names, essentially. I don't know if I just rambled or if that I explained that correctly, but yeah, that's the reason why it's called that. It's just because I think it's important to look through other people's perspectives and other people's glasses. Yeah. So the reason why I didn't let the idea go, I wanted to touch on this just because obviously, like I explained before, this idea was not something I wanted to do. For a long time, when I would like tell my friends about this idea, I would literally say to them, I'm starting a podcast under duress. It was like those two statements came hand in hand. And I've since stopped saying under duress because I'm very happy to be here. I'm definitely spending my own time and money to be here. So obviously it's not under duress. But for a long time, I didn't want to accept the idea. I didn't think I had what it takes or what it took to be a podcaster or, you know, anything like that. But then I realized it's more than just about me. I get a lot of DMs from people who are either thinking about being a UX UI designer or people who are UX UI designers and just trying to figure out, you know, how to get their foot in the door or, you know, make the right step in the right direction. And I feel like I'm so happy. Anyone that's DM'd me, you always know, like, I will send you a 500-word paragraph back just to make sure that I've answered every single one of your questions. I will send you 300 voice notes back just to make sure that I've answered every single one of your questions in as much detail as possible, without skipping over the good stuff, the bad stuff, or the hard stuff. And I felt like mentoring is great. Being a mentor is amazing and it's so fulfilling. But I want to be able to help more people. I want to be able to, you know, use my expertise and use my experience to lift up somebody else and get somebody else to my position quicker, and, you know, help people even propel past where I am now. So yeah, the whole point of this is just to be kind of like a mentor, but on a bigger scale, essentially. So yeah, that is episode 1 of the Perceptionist Playbook podcast, all about the Perceptionist Playbook and the Perceptionist Studio, why I even started this in the first place, and what my goal is for this podcast. And I hope that it has been very informative and very helpful, in terms of you deciding if you want to stick along for the ride or not. But yeah, definitely check out this podcast on all streaming platforms: Spotify, Amazon, Google, etc. Check out my website, www.theperceptionistplaybook.com. Check me out on Instagram. I'm also on TikTok and on YouTube. So yes, and if you have any questions, queries, or you want to know more about my journey or want to ask questions about my journey, feel free to send me a DM on Instagram or send me an email at theperceptionistplaybook@gmail.com. So yes, thank you for listening. Bye. Oh, this peace sign, let's get rid of it because he is eating me up, child. Bye guys.